Please welcome Angela McBride from OUCRU.
Have you ever had a leak in your house? What happened? Probably a hole opened up in the pipes and water leaked out, and the water pressure in your house dropped. Was there any damage to the pipes afterwards? Or did they just go back to working normally? Now, imagine that the pipes in your house are actually the blood vessels in a human body. And when they get damaged by infection, little gaps open up between the cells that line the blood vessels, and fluid leaks out, and the pressure drops. And organs that depend on high blood flow to function well suffer. And that's what shock is. And in Vietnam, shock is one of the most severe complications of being infected by the dengue virus. But the good news is that most people with dengue shock get better, leave hospital, and go back to work quickly. And we assume that their leaky blood vessels seal themselves up and go back to being shiny on the inside and working nicely. But we don't actually know if this is the case, because no one's ever looked at how well the blood vessels work after such profound disruption. So I asked, do the blood vessels go back to working normally? Or is there a rust, a damage on the inside that we can't see from the outside that affects how well they work? One of the most important functions of our blood vessels is to control blood flow to where it's needed the most. So for example, during exercise, the blood vessels to our heart and our muscles get wider, increasing the volume of blood flow to help the muscles work. If we can't do that, then we might get cramp, or worse, a heart attack. So I tested how well the blood vessels in the finger are able to control blood flow in patients with dengue shock. And I found that the blood vessels didn't go back to working normally afterwards. In fact, 2/3 of patients are still unable to adequately control the blood flow to their fingertips 3 months after they recovered from dengue shock. But what does it matter if the blood vessels in our fingers don't work very well? Well, they're the window to the rest of the system. We know from past research that blood vessels in the fingers closely mirror the ability to control blood flow to our heart muscle. And we also know that people with poor blood vessel function in the fingers have a higher risk of dying from heart attacks and strokes. So my research shows that after dengue shock, the blood vessels don't go back to working normally. There's an aftershock. And this might have real implications for long-term individual and public health.